So, ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? Hello. I'm really delighted to hand over to Lynn. Lynn will introduce herself and explain who she is. Thank you for coming.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. It really is a great pleasure to welcome you all here today. My name's Lynn Peacock and I'm the chair of LDN London. I'd like to, before I start, extend some huge thanks to Cheryl, Vic and Scott Gardner from Brewing Dolphin for allowing us to use these, absolutely magnificent offices in a part of London that I think's changed beyond all recognition. But Cheryl and Scott, do you mind just standing up so people can see who you are? Oh, sorry, I couldn't see you at the back, Cheryl, sorry. Gosh, that's an embarrassment. Right, now in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Simon Jarrett, who's one of our long-standing trustees and now long-standing supporters, who is going to coordinate the event today. But before I do so, I would like just to say a very few words about LDN London and why we wanted to put on today's event. LDN was founded over 60 years ago, which is astonishing when you think about it, and has been supporting learning disabled adults, children and their families across London since that time. Now, learning disabled individuals are sometimes some of the most discriminated against in our society, suffering from social isolation, exclusion, health inequality, and absolutely shocking statistics when it comes to employment. Now, employment is the focus of today's event, and before handing over to Simon, I wanted to leave you with a couple of facts to keep in your minds today. I think it's absolutely shameful that in 2025, less than 5% of learning disabled adults are in proper paid employment. Worse still, the trends are going in the wrong direction, not the right direction. So if you think about how, within the UK we've tried to become a more inclusive society, this is an area where, quite honestly, we're failing. The numbers for learning disabled people are significantly worse than those with a disability in general, where around 2/3 have some kind of job. So you can see that it's a huge gap to make up. Now, LDN is passionate about wanting to change this, and as well as promoting events like today, we provide support for those seeking employment and also are starting to provide employment ourselves. We've got a team of people that are responsible for checking the quality of the services that we provide, who have learning disabilities. And most recently, we've launched LDN Eats, our catering business, which you will hear a lot more about today. Now, that's more than enough from me. I think it's really important that you hear from the rest of today's speakers, because I think you will hear some really powerful messages and come away thinking that there are some huge opportunities. So Simon, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Lynn, and good morning, everybody. And it's fantastic to see that so many of you have come today. We're delighted by that, and we're delighted by your interest in the employment issue that we're going to talk about today. When I tell people that figure that Lynn just quoted of 4.8% of people with learning disabilities currently in proper paid employment, I always then have to say afterwards, that's the employment rate, that's not the unemployment rate, because the statistic is so staggering and, as Lynn said, shameful really. I've spent a lot of my life around people with learning disabilities, supporting people, being involved with people, being in services that people work in. And whenever I talk to people, and this is backed up by whenever I read any surveys, what the vast majority of people tell me is that they want a job, and the vast majority of people are not in a job. And in fact, more widely, people say that they want a decent place to live, a decent job, some social activities they can be involved in, good access to healthcare, and good access to public transport. So really the aspirations of this group of people are no different to the aspirations of any other group of people. This is what most of us want. But for some reason, it hasn't been happening. Somehow people are seen as people who don't work or can't work. And I think what we're hoping to do today is be part of the move to shift that perception and think about how things can be improved. And at a time when we are talking about skills shortages, recruitment and retention difficulties, we have this great army of people, of hundreds of thousands of people, most of whom want to work and most of whom can work. And so it really seems a very obvious thing to be trying to match those people with the employment needs that you as companies are facing. So I hope we can make some progress on that today. And of course, there's a very important time at the end of today for people to chat to each other, and please make the most of that networking opportunity and exchange details and talk to people and think about how things can move on from here. So we're going to kick off with, I'm going to introduce Kieran Willis, who's the Communications and Fundraising Project Lead for LDN. And he is going to be doing some interviews with some very interesting people who've been doing some very interesting things. Kieran.
All right, thank you, Simon. I'm really pleased to introduce the people we really need to hear from first. I think it's right we hear from first. And how it's going to work is I'm going to speak to each person for 5 minutes, and we're going to have a chat and hear their opinions. And we'll do it one by one. So we've got Sally Ishag, we've got Arthur Kasanya, we've got Jay Dublin Beaton, and we've got Ismail Hussain. And we're going to start with Sally Ishag. So I'll just introduce Sally. Sally Ishag has worked in many customer service roles. As an apprentice with the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, she worked as a customer service practitioner and gained a level 2 customer service qualification. Since then, she's worked at Boots Pharmacy in Piccadilly during the Christmas period, which I think would be preparation for just about any career. And most recently, she spent a year as an intern at LDN London's Community Hub, and she still works for us as a sessional worker. So first up, Sally, you worked for the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea as a customer service practitioner. Would you tell us a bit about working there and what you did?
So when I was working in Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, my previous experience there was sending out emails, and I was making phone calls to external and internal customers, and also providing passes to external and internal customers. And I assist external and internal customers to different types of training where they need to get to. And also I have been having the parcels to be delivered by the different types of couriers. And my job title was customer service practitioner at Royal Borough.
You were making the place run.
Yeah.
And you also, I think it's important to mention, you won an award while you were there, didn't you?
Yeah. So in 2022, I won the nomination of the award, part of the apprenticeship that I have been doing in customer service practitioner, I won the trophy. So I basically been nominated and passed maths and English in.
Well done. And so I remember you saying that accessibility was, they helped you at Kensington and Chelsea with accessibility, but your experience at Boots was not as great in terms of accessibility.
Yeah, so when I was working in Boots, I was working at on the till, and I basically tried to go towards the till and try to be able to see what the system, how it works. So basically, the numbers were quite small and the writing were quite small. When I was working in Boots, it wasn't much accessible unless it needs to be like change in the future of like changing the fonts rather than making it.
So yeah, you had to physically go closer to the till, didn't
That's
you?
what I had.
And I remember you saying that you found it a little bit hard to read
Yes.
the writing as well sometimes.
Yeah. So
Items.
yeah, I was actually finding it hard to read.
So what adjustments can workplaces make that would help you?
So the reasonable adjustment would help me is like to make the font bigger when I'm in the till and make the system change, like to make it in a different like program, a special program that can be used in future. And also, therefore, when I was literally working in Boots, I had to restock items in the shelf, and the writing is so small and couldn't read it. So then I asked one of the staff to like help me with like to put it in different items because of the instruction. And yes, so that I found it really difficult. But on that small writing, they need to like make it bigger. That's what I would say.
It needs to put something in place. Yeah. And just moving to the present, I know that you'd like a full-time job. How has it been for you mainly working part-time roles?
So in part-time role, I would say it just feels like when I'm working in a part-time job, it feels like it's just it makes it less. I would like to have like more than 2 days working in LDN rather than like 1 day, because it would be a bit too small, I would say. So.
And I know you've gotten a bit frustrated.
Yeah.
With the lots of different roles you've had.
Yeah. So I had like 6 or 7 jobs so far, and it feels like it's a temporary job that I wanted to lead on to a permanent job that in future, but it's kind of frustrating because it had pandemic on the way during 2019, and they didn't keep me in Kensington and Chelsea Tunnel. So yeah.
Yeah. And how are you managing that frustration? And
I don't know, I've just keep trying and trying to find like to get to the permanent job. So yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Sally. And there will be time at the end to ask Sally and all the speakers some questions as well. I'm sure you will have plenty of questions. So next up, we've got Arthur Casagna. So Arthur currently works part-time as a barista for Because, which is a social enterprise giving training to disadvantaged groups in the community. Previously, he has been an apprentice in customer service at Planet Organic in Tottenham Court Road. He also has a range of volunteering experience, including at the Royal Hospital Charity Shop in Chelsea with the pensioners, and also with Ruislip Lido Railway, where he sometimes drives the train. He's also a regular member at our community hub. So first off, Arthur, you've been working as a part-time as a barista, including with LDN London at events, and I hear you've been doing a really great job. Would you tell me a bit about that role?
So I started been like a barista since March, and I was nervous first time and now I'm confident, and so and I got an event, and now they got like a a shop in the theatre, and I'll be working there.
So because of setting up
Yeah,
a permanent
yeah,
place in the theatre,
Yeah,
and you're going to be
Yeah.
you're going to be there. And you've done such a good job that you've been mentoring other people.
yeah,
So because come in and do training in the hub, and you've been there mentoring people about how to make coffee.
yeah.
So you previously worked with Planet Organic on the till and as a shop assistant. Would you tell us a little bit about that role?
So I done Planet Organic like apprenticeship level 2 retails. So I done restocking, dates check, and delivery and hygiene, because we are serving food and delivery. But during my 6-month program, after 4 months, we lost business because it went under
Administration.
Yeah, so it closed down.
Yeah, so you were so close to finishing your qualification.
Yeah,
And then it just finished.
yeah,
That's such a shame.
yeah.
And was that a paid role?
Yes, it is.
It was a paid role. And I know that you're looking for a more full-time job still. Would you tell us a bit about how your job search is going?
So right now it's very stressful like job searching, because like every time, like when you apply for a job, they just decline you, and we want to know why, but they're not answering, or like they're not answering you or reply you. So like it's very stressful, but it's okay because I do like 1 hour job searching like every day.
You're very consistent.
Yeah,
So you face quite a lot of rejection.
yeah, but like yeah, I get a lot.
That must be a bit frustrating. Yeah. And what kind of job would you like in the future?
So I would like to have barista, transport, or customer service in trains.
Okay. What would be the dream out of all of those?
Barista.
Barista. Okay, well you've made a great start.
Thank you.
Okay, I think perfect. Well, thank you to Arthur. Okay, so next up we have Jay Dublin Beaton. So Jay's first job, as she told me, was as a garden maintenance operative or a groundsperson with the charity Groundwork, where she worked for around 2 years, making gardens in Westminster look great for the public. Before that, she had brief roles in customer service, where she experienced how difficult the work environment can be for an autistic person. Jay is soon going to be starting as an intern at LDN London as an admin assistant for our autism programme. So, Jay, you had some difficult experiences working as a barista and as a hotel housekeeper.
Yeah.
Would you tell us a bit about what happened?
Basically, I was sort of at the time I had those jobs undiagnosed with ASD, which I have, and so it was just hard for me to communicate like my needs, obviously, and to understand like most of the instructions. That's for like me personally. It's really hard for me to like understand instructions if I don't understand, if all of them are not there, like if I don't have like all the steps, and so that's really hard. Some people they don't require that, and so I think that's just like the given that, you know, it's like, say, oh, do this, and don't. I can't really think of an example.
It was very fast.
It's very
remember you
quick.
saying
Yeah.
with the coffee shop that they just kind of told you all the different things and expect you to do it very fast.
It was like, and I didn't have my diagnosis at the time. Yes, it was like, here we go over about a weekend, so that's like Friday afternoon and Saturday, Sunday, learn all of the drinks on the whole menu, like how to do it. And these like specific new like summer drinks that they had, and all the coffees like Americano, cappuccino, mocha.
They just keep adding coffees,
They
don't
just
they?
make new ones, don't they? Yeah, new coffees, flat white and like black coffee, and yeah, but that's not all as well. It's the machine. Like you have to learn how to do the machine. Yeah, and so it's very overwhelming for me, and I felt like I wasn't listened to really when I would be like, oh, I don't understand this. They would just get like very frustrated, and it's not good for like people's self-esteem and that. Like anyone in a work environment, if they don't understand it, they actually just don't understand it. And that's okay. That's not them trying to be difficult. It's like them trying to understand, like learning is a good thing that we all deserve to be able to do. Yeah.
And fortunately you had a better experience when you started at Groundwork a bit later.
Yeah.
Would you talk about how they created a better environment for you?
Groundwork, it's a charity. It's really good. I really like that job. They created a better environment by, they sort of had a bit more, I think, a sense of like awareness that different people use different, like they learn differently, different methods. For example, I find it hard to learn by mimicry. Say if someone's like, oh, sort of like do that, and then just like watch them do it and try and copy it. I find that really hard. I find it easy to like have all the steps in my mind, understand the whole process, even if it's something like planting and like organizing. And then I am given time, at least one time, to be able to do it in practice and see. That's me personally, but everybody's different. And
They give you more time.
They give me more time.
Explained a bit more clearly.
Yeah,
right?
more clearly, and I was able to ask them questions, and they would answer them, and I was able to ask. Yeah, could you repeat that, please? Could you go a bit more slowly?
And it felt safe for you to do that.
Yes, it felt safe for me to do that, yeah. So that was the whole point. And they're very good teachers. Everybody passed their, like, it was like level 1 City and Guilds. You can get it.
So you got your level 1?
Yes, I got my level 1 in practical horticulture, yeah. And everybody did, like, regardless. There was like about 7 people on my team and everybody did. So, yeah, it's very
Amazing.
good.
And you're about to start with LDN London as an intern.
Yes.
What made you, how are you feeling about starting?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling quite proud of myself that I managed to get past the interview process and everything. I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be. I haven't interviewed for a job in many years, like so very withdrawn. Proud and confident and looking forward to it, because it's like I get to work with people who are more like me than like, I don't know, like previous experiences.
And I remember you saying that you feel like you can put yourself in other people's shoes as an autistic person.
Yeah.
And help them.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes. You basically said it, yeah. It's like, yeah, so that's like an advantage, yeah. I agree with what I said.
Amazing. All right, thank you. I think that's it. Okay. Finally, we've got Ishmael Hussein. So Ishmael has some great experience. For 16 years, he's worked at Primark in Marble Arch as a customer service assistant. He also has experience as a football coach and volunteering in a shop called Circle Sports. So would you tell us a bit about where you're working now, Ishmael, and your role?
My role in Primark is I'm working as a retail assistant. I meet and greet customers. I show customers to which department to go to for an item or product. Also, I work on till, supporting customers, making sure that they purchase their item or product they're looking for. I also do stock work, which is preparing stock to take on to the shop floor, putting stock out onto shelf, filling shelves up, manual handling and making sure that the prices are correct.
You sound like a busy man.
Yeah.
And what kind of skills do you bring to the role?
Good customer service, good management skill, a lot of meeting and greeting customers.
You've got quite a hard-working ethic. You work quite hard, I would
Yeah,
say.
very hard.
And how did you get that job with Primark?
I was volunteering at Circle Sports for 12 months. As a volunteer, I was ironing clothes, meeting and greeting customers, social media, also working on till.
So you got a lot of experience, and then that
Yeah,
was relevant to Primark,
yeah.
and then you applied for the job.
I applied for the job and I got the
You had an
position.
interview.
Had an interview and then
You got it.
I got the job.
And what kind of work environment do you like?
I like working in a busy environment.
Anything else?
No.
That's it. Okay, busy. Great. And where would you like to work in the future?
My dream job is to work in an airport or work as a luggage porter.
And how's that going?
It's going quite good at the moment. I've had a few interviews. I haven't done well, but it's good to go for an interview, have a try out, see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's great. You know what you want, and you've started the process and doing the interviews. That's really great. I'm also interested. You're a keen footballer and you're a sports coach. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
I volunteered at Regent's Park Sports Hub as a football coach, coaching young people between age 3 to 13 years old. I've also worked as a football coach at Westminster Academy, coaching young people between the age of 6 to 16. I enjoyed my time coaching. I've worked as a football coach at Westminster Academy and London Heathrow Youth Game.
It sounds like you're quite passionate about it.
Yeah,
And you're a keen footballer yourself too, aren't you?
yeah.
You're a striker, I think.
I'm a striker.
Okay, amazing. Is there anything else you want to say?
No.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for listening. Back over to Simon.
Thank you, all of you, for just some really amazing stories. It's great to hear about fantastic things you're doing in work. It's also really interesting to hear about some of the difficulties you've had to face, both on the recruitment process to get in and once you're in, and just how hard you've all worked, to overcome those difficulties. And so that's something that perhaps we can talk about a bit more in this next session. So I'd like to introduce Sola Okusaga from the Westminster Employment Service. Hi, Sola. So I'm going to ask Sola a few questions about the Westminster Employment Service. Is it still known as WES?
It is still known
It's
as
still known
WES.
as WES, but we're going to call it Westminster Employment Service today so that everybody knows what it is. So can you tell us a little bit about WES? What is it? What does it do?
So Westminster Employment Service is a employment service for Westminster residents. So we support Westminster residents who are looking for employment, education or training, or all three. We work with all kinds of residents, so young people, people over 55, individuals who've got additional needs and learning disabilities. We're a very inclusive service, and we only work with Westminster residents unless you are part of our supported internship. So I think we work with residents who also aren't Westminster residents also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does it actually work? What is it that you do with people?
We provide a holistic support to individuals. So we work on a one-to-one basis with residents. We tailor our support to suit their needs, not to suit our needs, because that wouldn't be, I guess, inclusive. And we ask them how they would like us to work with them, what sort of work they're looking for, what sort of training they're looking for, and that nothing is final. So we may find a job or an internship or work experience, and if they do not like it, that is totally okay. We can start again and look for something else. It's about what the individual wants.
Great. And from this experience you've got, what practical steps in terms of people with learning disabilities do you think that employers can take to promote meaningful inclusion, to recruit people, to support them and retain them in the workforce?
From my opinion, I think employers and businesses need to think of employing people with learning difficulties as not a charity. It's not charity. It's that this is something that is going to be basically a strength to their organisation, and not sick. So that's my personal opinion, and that we can't fit people into jobs. It's the jobs that we need to make more inclusive for the individual. So we need to look at an individual, and actually, if they can't articulate that this is what I need to be to conduct this job in a meaningful manner, it's down to us to actually ask the right questions and to make those make the right questions and make those adjustments over time. And it's not set in stone. This is a continuous work that we do with the individual. Yeah.
And some people have talked about the difficulties they've had in interviews, for example, first of all in getting an interview, and then some people have found it quite hard in the interviews themselves, although they're obviously skilled workers who can do what they're being interviewed for. Have you found ways of helping people and helping employers to tackle those issues?
Yes, we have. I mean, recently we worked with one of our contractors and we did I call it a micro session for individuals who are looking for employment. And he actually did not do a formal interview. It was just literally a chat for the individuals to get to know him and the organisation, and for him to get to know them. So there was no question like, tell me a bit about yourself, or tell me about a time you dealt with a difficult customer. It was just really a really nice two-way conversation. And from those conversations, he actually hired some of those individuals. So that's how we want to start working with employers, because that's more inclusive. It actually works with individuals.
I mean, that's really interesting, because we talk about having equal opportunities recruitment systems, and actually what you're getting people to do is divert from their usual equal opportunities way of doing things, which is to treat everybody exactly the same. Because it sounds like actually what you have to do is you have to adapt your process.
Exactly. We can't treat everybody the same, because everybody's needs are different. And once we acknowledge that and we're open to that, then we can start treating everybody the way they are needed to be treated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you follow the normal process, you're going to get the normal results. But if you change, then
exactly. Yeah.
Other people have talked about once they're in work, they sometimes have trouble with adaptation, and we heard about just something like the size of the font on the cash registers. How can employers actually support people to enable them to settle into a workplace and then retain the job?
I think it's really important to when you're inducting somebody into a job is actually to be aware of the individual might actually not know what some of the needs or requirements that they need, because they really want the job. So it's down to, I guess, appropriate training, us to inform the employers that these are some of the additional requirements that they may need. And I think it has to be a continuous conversation. So supervision, I find supervision really useful for staff, especially with staff who've had additional needs and learning disabilities, is just asking them about their well-being and how they're feeling and how they think they're doing, and to be open as to if they think they're not doing really well, asking them, what can I do, or what do you think you need in order to do this job to the best of your ability. And I find that works, and I think that's what we're trying to do to get employers to do also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the feedback from employers who've recruited people with learning disabilities and done what you've said successfully is that actually people stay in the job for a long time.
Yeah.
They become very reliable members of the workforce. And just thinking about Ismail and what he's told us about his 16 years of Primark. So that little bit of investment, time and thinking at the beginning.
And actually showing that you want them to succeed. You can show that, they'll want to stay. If they feel valued, everybody has to feel valued. So if they feel valued and that you actually listen to them and that you care about how they're feeling at work, they'll want to stay.
Yeah. And the results can be fantastic. So what do you think are the biggest barriers from your experience that are actually preventing people with learning disabilities from moving into sustainable employment?
I think the biggest barriers is people not wanting to be open. They think that, and I guess society working in silos. So we have education that's in silos. We have a SEND school. We have, in inverted commas, a school or education for individuals who don't have additional needs, and we do that within work also. But I think if we worked with our employers in an integrated manner, so we don't have a professional educational needs employment service or an employment service for people who don't have additional needs, and we work with employers in a more inclusive manner, that I think to me that would work, because we're working with employers from the onset to meet everybody's needs, not just somebody who's over 55 or somebody who's young, that sort of thing. This is how we work. This is how we want to work with everybody in an inclusive manner. Yeah.
So what would your message be to employers, to local authorities, to other employment support services about what they can actually do?
I think they need to be a lot more open. They're missing out on great talent, and we're seeing that here today. And it's to have that conversation. It's to approach organisations like LDN London, or if depending on which boroughs you are, you've got Westminster Employment Service, you've also got Islington. I think businesses need to approach these organisations and have an open conversation, because we're here to help, support and develop.
And finally, we use the phrase today about putting the I into DEI, and how do you actually put inclusion into your DEI frameworks and have meaningful, real inclusion. And we do know that employers can feel quite unconfident about this. In fact, they can find it quite difficult, and it's quite a challenge. So what can you say to people about how they can ensure that inclusion happens, and how they can measure that progress and see that it's getting somewhere in the right direction?
Okay, so I made some notes on that. I think many organisations are quite good at collecting data, but are they collecting the right data? That's the thing. We're collecting, the age of a person, their nationality or their ethnic origin, but are we collecting data in regards to people's additional needs, people who've got learning difficulties? I don't think we are, and I think they need to start doing that, because then if we do, we will see that we're actually missing a trick, because it's going to be, very low. So I think if we can start doing things like that, we'll start realising that actually we're not tapping into, potential, untapped potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Oh, fantastic, Solar, and thank you very much. And you're staying right till the end?
I am.
So you're going to be here in that crucial time at the end. So anyone with a stake in Westminster who wants to talk to Solar, but actually anybody who's just interested in what you've raised and how they can work on that themselves, even if they're not in Westminster, so that'd be great. So thank you very much. And we're really pleased to have as our next two speakers two people from BASE, which is the British Association for Supported Employment, organisation I've known about for a long time, which has been doing a lot of great work for a long time. And we have got Julia Green and Maurice George, and rather than me telling you anything about them, they're going to tell you about themselves. So thank you.
Thank you. We're definitely going to try. I feel like a try hard because we've gone for PowerPoint slides, but I do tend to talk quite quickly. So maybe anything you miss in what I say, you might be able to see it there. And I'm just going to make sure I don't press any wrong buttons because that could go really, I'm guessing just an arrow. Katie's nodding at me. There we go. It's so difficult following experts by experience because that is always going to be the most important and the most impactful to hear. And for any employees in the room, seeing that kind of diverse talent and how you can access that is always the most important message. What we're going to try and do today, so my name is Julia Green, I am the current chair of BASE, so the British Association for Supported Employment, joined by Maurice, who is the South East lead and also CEO for the Ways Into Work team, covering the kind of South East region. So we're going to talk a little bit about BASE, what we do with BASE, and some ideas around supported employment for anybody that, for this is a new concept and need to know a little bit more. So BASE as the Association for Supported Employment, there is also the, and I'll try and get this right, so there is the World Association for Supported Employment, there is also ASSE, who is the Association for Supported Employment Europe. So there is an entire kind of sector and world out there where supported employment, a concept that really came out of America in the 1980s, which was all around just finding the right support for the right people and also at the right time. Put into that the right employer and the right opportunity, and that's what BASE and supported employment is looking to achieve. So BASE are a members organisation. We've definitely checked in Westminster Council of BASE members, which is great to see. So we've got about 300 members across England, Wales and Scotland, who are all joined within that sector, from education providers, local authorities, to look at the importance of supported employment and how we can really drive that sector, drive quality in the sector so that employers definitely know what to look for in terms of good supported employment and opportunity. I think for me, choice and chance is really important. And I very often say to people, like, who remembers being asked, do you want to work? And for most employers in the room, they kind of go, well, no, it was just assumed. And making sure we have that assumption right from the beginning. Everybody can work with the right support, and it's all around identifying what that support needs to look like. So sharing best practice, opportunity, bringing together different providers and making sure that our focus is in opportunity for all and making sure that there is no postcode lottery. There are teams out there like Westminster doing amazing work through supported internships and supported employment, and we can give the right support to the right people at the right time and fade it when we're not needed anymore. So there is a model. So there is a 5-stage model of supported employment. It is tried and tested, and it is a fidelity scale that is really important because from employers, it is really important that you understand what good can look like. Very often from employers, I think you might find that people just come to you going, just give us a job and an opportunity because that's what we need. It's really important that employers are a third part of that jigsaw. The person who is looking for the opportunity, the provision that is there to provide the support, and the employer makes that kind of 3-part jigsaw to make sure that supported employment can really come together and really thrive and succeed. So a little demonstration of a graphic. How to develop a career. I think the other important thing to take away is that careers are for all. A starting opportunity is great. I'm still not at the co-op when I started when I was 16. I'm doing a different job now. So making sure that if people are going into entry-level roles, there is still the supported employment model to make sure progression is really important as well, because careers should be for everybody. So the supported employment model is around client engagement, so really good engagement with the person, finding out what works for them, what opportunities they are looking for, vocational profiling, so this isn't a space for care plans, this is about vocational profiles that really identify what that person's looking for and how we can best support the person to achieve what their goals are. Again, our experts, they know what they're looking to do, so how can we help people create steps to get there? Employer engagement, because employers, as I say, they are an important part of this working, and it's not just about the job opportunity. And I think from a diverse talent pool, why wouldn't you do recruitment that way? Why wouldn't you want your workforce to be reflective of the customer base that you're there to deliver to? But making sure that the employers are part of that journey, job matching, and then support and career development. So things that we know what works. So there is the presumption of employability. Everybody can work with the right support. Making sure that there are inspiring role models, which we have plentiful here, to talk about their journeys and to inspire. It's not helpful for me to stand and tell anybody what their journey could be. It's hearing from the experts themselves. High quality careers advice, making sure that we raise those ambitions, raise expectations, provide meaningful work experience that is going to make sure people can progress into what the next opportunity will be, and accessible vocational training. So there is more to work than work. So again, it's thinking about what does work give us. We know that it's not just the take-home salary. It is very helpful and necessary, and we're not all doing everything as volunteers, but it's about those kind of relationships and who you meet and finding ways to kind of like expand your network of people, things that matter, how you start to network and socialise beyond, and just the difference that employment can bring. Very few people, if we think about kind of traditional sort of day settings from a learning disability perspective, you end up with the same people you went to school with. And I would imagine not many people work now with the people they went to school with. So making sure that diversity is something we really focus on and create more of. There's different employment pathways. We've talked today a little bit about some of those. So supported internships, inclusive apprenticeships, job coaching, inclusive recruitment. And it's knowing, and I think again our experts spoke really beautifully about it, that it's a different approach for different people, and making sure that different is what it's all about, and finding out what works for the person, because that's what's going to get them to start to stay and to succeed in work. I'm going to hand over to Morris.
Yeah, you get a clap, Julie. You get a clap. That was fantastic. Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to actually say to the employers in the room here, we can leave the moral imperative at the door. You've stayed in the room, so you're signed up to the agenda that everybody has the right to work. That is fantastic. Great. You know, what I don't want us to just go away with thinking is, oh, I'm really passionate about giving someone a chance. Or, as we heard from Sally, it's not about, oh, could we just get this person a job? Because sometimes you hear employers go, oh yeah, we've done our bit. We employed one person. Actually, we're not having a business to business conversation. And what we really need to get across to employers, and we're not the people to send that message, as Julia said, it's these experts at the front here. This is the talent in the room and the business case for employing these individuals. And that's what I just want to go over now. We talk to businesses not about giving someone a chance or, oh, wouldn't it be lovely if you could give them a work trial? But actually, we've done some research on your employment, and it seems that you're having high turnover rates of your staff. And they go, oh, yes, well, we employ graduates. Oh, do they need to be a graduate for the job? No, it's a packing industry job. Oh, okay. But we need to put something on the application process to so we say, you know, GCSEs at this level. Okay, do they need a GCSE to do that job? No, they don't need a GCSE. But then they move on to another job and they move on to another job. And someone else might say, well, actually, I want to stay in this job for 2 years. And you're recruiting every 3 months. Well, we're going to save you your recruitment costs. And all of a sudden the employer goes, oh, you're a bit irritating. I can't get rid of you now and say, oh, I've done my bit, or I don't have insurance for that. You're talking to me about my business needs. So we know that retention rates are higher for the learning disabled community that go into employment. We know that we can reduce training costs in the long term because you're not having to train as many people over a period of time. But does it take longer to train them? Yes, it does. But in the long run, it's a reduction. Increased productivity, efficiency, innovation. University of Strathclyde, University of Swansea have done time and motion studies. People with neurodivergence and learning disability tend to be far more productive once they've learnt a job and work more systematically and to an exacting standard and don't have as many fluctuations. It provides access to a wider customer group. So employers in the room here, we know that customers want to invest in companies that reflect the community from which they come from. and so you can increase your customer base. It does also enhance your company image, of course it does. And it would be wrong to say that there isn't a place for social corporate responsibility within this space, but that's not who we're going to. We're going to hirers and corporate people with decision making, because this is going to improve your bottom line as a business. I was amazed sitting there listening to you guys at the front here about how articulate you were about the job that you do and the job that you aspire to. There are many, many people out there that haven't even thought about their career or considered it, and are far less articulate because you've had to work so hard to navigate your employment journey. You actually come with strengths over and above other people, school leavers at the moment. I can't remember the last time I heard a young person talk as articulately as the four that we've had today talk about their career journey. So employers, that is your call to action. There is this untapped talent pool out there. And we can give confidence in complying with the law. Supported employment, we can advise you along the way. But let's be transparent about this. Having a learning disability does come with a difference, and it can come with its own challenges, as we've heard about. So sometimes it does take longer to learn new tasks. Sometimes the planning for tasks, people learn in different ways, and I thought you articulated it brilliantly, that you need to know the whole task to really understand it, and other people like to just know small parts of it, and we just need to break it down to be right as a person-centered approach. Timekeeping can be something, but then again, there's many people without a learning disability for whom timekeeping is a problem, along with personal organisation. So there are a range of things here that I'm putting up in the room that if you're a recruiter today, you're thinking, okay, Maurice, that doesn't look great. You're not exactly pulling me towards this workforce. But then you remember that actually all the workforce can struggle with these different things. And we go back to that slide and go, oh no, this far outweighs this. So we've got the moral imperative because you're in the room today. We've got a really strong business case of why we're doing it. So why are we stuck at 4.8%? Probably this. We are scared of getting it wrong. And we are scared. We heard about, that equality versus equity. Equality means treat everybody the same, because that way we can't get it wrong. So the intention was good, but we are kind of getting it wrong. Because if we say, oh yes, we'll give the questions in advance to you, that's absolutely a reasonable adjustment, but I'm just going to give them to everybody now in advance. Well, now you've overcompensated, because the person that's really good in an interview has even more time to practice and knows the questions, and the person that has a processing difficulty is still disadvantaged against the other person. We're not trying to overly promote someone, we're trying to level the playing field here. And believe me, I have recruited many people in my time, and on the strength of interview have employed someone who I've later gone, oh, they're just an interview performer, aren't they? A work trial is such a great way of trying before you buy. It really is. So that fear factor is why supported employment exists, and the British Association of Supported Employment, that membership body of bringing together people like Westminster Employment Service, Islington, and a whole host of organisations across London and the South East, but across nationally as well, providing the job coaches to work with a job seeker or an employee and the employer as equal customers on that journey. Both are integral to a sustained and successful career. We can provide that in-work support, so it's not just get someone a job and leave them and hope everything else takes care of itself, because things change. A manager might change, the production line might change, the task that you were originally hired for isn't the one that you've ended up doing. So we can come back into employers. We can build up those trusting relationships, and there are funding routes available out there. We'll be hearing more and more about the Connect to Work programme over the next year or so, which is a nationally funded Department for Work and Pensions programme to support supported employment right across the country, to remove the postcode lottery. So every area will have access to funded supported employment. So it's free to employers, which is great. Ultimately, we want employers to then take on some of those responsibilities and adapt their workplaces. And to finish on, we're talking about that duality of the same and different. Everybody has the same right to work. We all have ambitions. We can aspire to really interesting, creative roles, not just the first role that's available. But sometimes, if our brain is wired differently or is working differently and we navigate life differently, we need a different approach. Not just a differentiated approach, but those things like, oh yeah, a work trial could work for this person. Actually, a visual support board would be absolutely perfect, not just for this individual, but for a whole host of people in my workplace. So it's a real challenge of accepting that we're all the same in terms of our aspirations, but in our own ways, each and every individual needs a different approach. So supported employment is there to accompany that approach, lessen the fear, and give people the jobs that they aspire to. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia and Maurice. That really excellent introduction, really, to how supported employment works. And don't forget, BASE is a national organisation. You're here right to the end, aren't you? So yeah, do approach them in the final time and make links, and that will hopefully help you on your journey towards creating supported employment. So we're going to finish now. I'd like to introduce Mandy Crowford, who is the Assistant CEO for Growth, Innovation and Transformation at LDN. LDN, as you know, are the sort of joint hosts of this event and the people who came up with the inspiration for this event alongside Brewing Dolphin. And Mandy's just going to talk a little bit about what LDN are doing and is planning to do. Over to you, Mandy.
Thank you. Hi. I'm also bringing to the front some of our members of our. Oh, is that coming on? Oh, okay. Some of our team for LDN Eats. So let me just reattach your his label. Okay. Hi. Before I start, we have talked about who LDN are. I would urge you to open up your bags and read the impact report. There's some really inspiring stories and some information in there about what we do. You've heard us, oh, thank you, Emma. You've heard us talk about the Community Hub a few times, certainly from our members at the front. So the Community Hub is a service that offers support, advice, and critically peer support. So all of these guys that are here today spend time together, supporting each other and inspiring each other. So that's a big part of the work that we do. The barriers that we talked about, we focus very much today on employment. We've hosted other Spotlight On events, and again, I would urge you to keep an eye on what we have done in the past and have coming up. These Spotlight On events really do highlight the challenges that people are facing, and the inspiring stories that we've heard today and the opportunity to talk to people that have spoken today as well afterwards will hopefully kind of push those things forward, and we'll break down those barriers together. So LDN Eats, a bit of shameless publicity here about this team, this amazing team. We've had some very generous seed funding that's allowed us to employ Adele as our chef, who is leading on LDN Eats. So LDN Eats, we're currently renovating a kitchen in preparation for employment, longer term, sustainable, continuous employment and training for people with learning disabilities to be entering into the hospitality and catering industry. It's an evolution of something that started 12 odd years ago with a fundraising event, and the skills and talents of individuals that we support came through very strongly in that one event, and what we were hearing is we want to do this more. So what I'd like to do is ask two of our members currently, Valmy and Daniel, about what they do with LDN Eats, which used to be called Yum Yums.
Change it now.
Yeah, change it to LDN Eats. Yes.
We came with name.
Yeah, with a lovely new logo.
A logo.
Very representative of London. which we're very proud to be very focused on. So Valmy, what and Daniel, what do you do as part of LDN team?
Sometimes me and Daniel we serve the people food like sandwiches, coffee, wait for customer. Yeah. And then sometimes me and Daniel said, hello, do you want a sandwich? Do you want a coffee? Yeah. And then like sometimes we get apron, we serve the people sandwich and the crisps. Yeah. Or like sandwich or coffee.
We do canapes as well, don't
yeah,
we?
we get money in it, don't we?
We get
Yeah.
paid.
Yes.
Get paid. And then we get the paper signed in.
Yeah. So
It goes into our account.
yes,
Yeah, that's a good one.
yeah. So people are being paid the going rate for the jobs that they're doing. That's really important, and we charge the going rate. We are, this isn't a charitable catering enterprise. This is work. It was really interesting and great to hear that whole thing about business case. Anybody that books LDN Eats and was Yum Yum, so anybody that books LDN Eats in the future will be getting a professional service by staff that are trained and qualified and experienced in catering and hospitality, and you will get that at the going rate. So, I mean, Daniel, do you want to talk a bit about what you did most recently? Perhaps you and Adele could talk about what you did, because you took the sort of sandwiches and canapes offer onto something a bit different.
The day that you were doing the Christmas, is it?
That's all the way. Did all the way function recently.
Yeah, all the way function. Or I did the water.
Yeah.
And the sandwiches.
Okay. What did you do with the water?
Oh, I put the fruits in there. So, and then put it in.
Yeah.
And then after I did it, fill the water, I put the fruits in, and after I put the fruits in, then I took it outside. After I put the cauliflower.
Yeah.
Was it?
I hope we didn't have cauliflower in our water. Please tell me I wasn't drinking cauliflower water.
No, not that one. Not that one. I kind of get it right.
Yeah, it was very tasty.
I put it in, just put it in, make sure that it's washed, and I put it in, and then took it outside and put it on the table, gave people sandwiches and food.
We had hot food that day, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was the first time we've had like a meal. What we've done in the past, and the team are very experienced at, is like a buffet, sandwiches, canapes for kind of evening events, desserts. So we've done a number, particularly for the Spotlight On events as well. So. And it has been a mixture of, we've got some members of our team who are very interested in the catering side of things, and other members of the team who are more interested in hospitality. And it's back to that thing about getting it the right job for the right people. Recently we did identify that actually we need a kitchen porter, because these guys really like the service and nobody likes the washing up. So we need to find...
I wash up.
I wash up.
Yeah.
I think as well, Mandy, it's trying to find everybody's strengths in what they like to do, what they enjoy to do. I try to make it as fun as possible, so they do like working with me, because I'm happy-go-Larry in the kitchen with music on, and and it's all about being positive and obviously carrying that inspiration. And if I can get at least a handful into the workforce of the hospitality, that is just an honour, and that's put a massive smile on my face that I can do that. Because obviously the hospitality, as you all know, is one of the biggest and hardest job roles to get into. We tend to find, myself as being experienced over 30 odd years being in the catering industry, you find that there's a level of patience that most chefs would give to individuals, because it's just such a fast-paced going business, and my role obviously coming in is giving that passion and obviously taking that one-to-one time with individuals to find out what they like, what they want to pursue in the future, and gradually taking steps to achieve that for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to kind of wrap up this bit, if you are interested in anything to do with LDN Eats, which goes live in January, please, I'm going to direct you to the team here. Yeah.
I know. I know.
So
He's our manager.
yeah, she is. Luana, I can't see you. Where are you? Luana?
How close are you?
Why not? So fish is out there.
Oh, is she? Okay, so Luana will be outside. She heads our community engagement team. So if you're interested in anything to do with the community engagement team, then please speak to her. And I'm around as well if you're interested in any of the things that you've heard about to do with LDNE, LDN and LDNE. Okay. Okay.
Thank you all very much. And just to reiterate that message, if you need any catering done, do go for LDN Eats. And as Mandy said, it's really important this. It won't be cheap, right? It's going to be market rate, but it will be market quality. And I think that's the whole point of what we've been talking about this morning. There's certain rules which meant we couldn't provide the catering for today, but I do believe you're getting something here.
Oh, yes, biscuits. Biscuits made by LDN Eats.
Yes, there we go. This will get it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you'll end up with a biscuit. Okay, I think it's really important that we move on now to the bit where everybody gets to talk to each other. Please do take contact details from people, put your name down if there's anything that LDN can do in terms of helping you to get in contact with different people. But I really hope, I've just really enjoyed listening to all the speakers this morning, the 4 speakers who talked about their work experiences at the beginning were absolutely superb, I thought, and it just got me thinking, and I think I'll be thinking about that for a long time. But all our speakers have been fantastic. I hope it's given you a really good introduction to this new world of work, really, which I think we can all work together on. Thank you once again, all of you, for coming. I hope you have found it useful. I hope you make some good connections while you're here and go away with some good thinking to do. And thank you. And once again, thank you to all our fantastic speakers.